I know this is towards the end of the last day of InstructureCon, so I didn't expect a full room. Thank you so much. I am Tera Lisicky, as Kate had mentioned. I have been in instructional design for over 12 years, and I came into online as a student about 16 years ago, and I'll talk about that later on. And thank you for joining us in the recording. I know my mic wasn't on a minute ago. So today we are going to be talking about instructional design strategies to make content accessible in Canvas. And I just want to preface this presentation by I am just, one of the puzzle pieces, as Chris mentioned yesterday in his presentation, that I will provide a link to as well. So, I might not have all the answers, but I hope that I can provide you some passion and motivation to get started, and together we can work and create an awesome puzzle. So, I wanted to start with Simon Sinek, and Brian Kick, my old supervisor, is here, and I was introduced to Simon Sinek during one of our Avid summits. So I really like what his message is, and so if you haven't already read his book, Start With Why, I highly suggest it. So we're going to go over it a little very fast so that you can get some motivation and remember what your passion is as to why you are here. So every organization and individual knows what they do. For an organization, these are the products they sell or the services they offer. For an individual, it is their job, title, or roles. So mine would be an instructional design contractor working with faculty. And some organizations and individuals know how they do what they do. They may call it differentiating value proposition, proprietary processes, or unique selling propositions. The hows are an organization or individual's strengths, values, or guiding principles. These are the things they feel set them apart from their competition. So the things they think make them special or different from everyone else. And so very few people know why they do what they do. They can't articulate it. So why is a purpose? It's a cause or a belief. And it provides a clear answer to your questions of why do you get out of bed every morning? Why does your organization exist? And why should that matter to anyone else? So making money is not a why. Revenues, profits, and salaries and monetary measurements are simply results of what we do. And so this is the reason why we can say that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So what you do simply serves as a tangible proof of what you actually believe. And so let's revisit your passion. So what is your why statement? Your why statement is a sentence that clearly expresses your unique contribution and impact. The impact reflects the differences of what you want to make the world. So what the contribution is, the primary action that you take towards making that impact. So together, these two components provide a filter through which you can make decisions every day and act with purpose. So my why to be in online is I was 14, I was a sophomore in high school, I was walking on a crosswalk with my girlfriend, and I was hit by a car. And I broke my C2 vertebrae on both sides. It's a hangman's fracture. It's the same break that can kill you, and it's what Christopher Reeves had. And so I'm very fortunate to even be moving my arms today, and so I feel like I have a purpose to be here. This is my passion, and my unique contribution is to remind you all why you became teachers, instructional designers, administrators, to make a difference in students' lives, because you all made a difference in my life. Without each and every one of you, I wouldn't have been able to finish high school. Back then, they didn't have virtual high schools. They had community college classes online. And so my wonderful guidance counselor told me to take those classes, and it counted for both my high school and college credits. And so I was driven. I couldn't get out of bed for 3 months. I was in a hospital bed. I was in a neck brace that I was just pretty much immobilized. I couldn't even shower. And so online classes gave me a purpose to wake up every morning and to continue my schooling when everyone told me that I should just take a year off of high school. But even so, even if I did that, I still continued for many years to go to the Children's Hospital every day to see a different specialist, did biofeedback, did chronic pain management, and saw a neurologist. And so, I suffered and was a student with Disabled Student Services for quite some time. And so that is why I'm here. And I knew that, technology is going to get better, and I can continue watching the trends, and I can help implement that and make technology easy for all of you to understand. And Canvas has made a simple software for us to each utilize in our own classrooms. And for those of you watching it that don't have it at your schools, you can get a free for Teachers account today, and you can utilize it and see how awesome it is and share it with your colleagues. And so today, my purpose and my contribution is to teach accessible instructional design so that all students have access to meaningful and memorable learning. And so I wanted to share a few quotes before we get into the how. And so Stephen Ballmer says, accessible design is good design. It benefits people who don't have disabilities as well as people who do. Accessibility is all about removing barriers and providing the benefits of technology for everyone. And Deborah Ruh says, accessibility allows us to tap into everyone's potential. And Steve Krug says, the one argument for accessibility that doesn't get made nearly often enough is how extraordinarily better it makes some people's lives. How many opportunities do we have to dramatically improve people's lives just by doing our jobs a little bit better? And I wanted to give a shout out to Chris from Utah State University, who did an amazing presentation on accessibility yesterday. And I attended it and made sure that there was no overlap so you guys can get the most of these 40 minutes. And so if you want access to his materials, you'll be able to watch the recording in a few weeks, or now if you're watching this recording. And you can go to his bit.ly that has links to his slides and great information on Blackboard Ally, University of Central Florida's You Do It, and City Labs design tools. And so these are tools that you can use, and they will measure how accessible your course is and teach you how to fix them, if not fix them. So I am going to teach you how you can design it correctly the first time, so we'll go over that as well. And since I'm from the California Community Colleges, I wanted to give a shout out to Jamie Johnson. He is our Director of Accessibility and User Experience with the California Community College Online Education Initiative. So we are 114 colleges in California, and so he has put together some amazing resources, and they are Creative Commons, so you all can have access to that. It's a Canvas course, and it has wonderful screenshots and descriptions of how and why and who, so it's great. It's in there. And then Sean Keegan, he is responsible for our Ccc Accessibility Center. This is another website that you can check out. And again, all of our work is grant-based, so it's open for you all to utilize. And huge shout out, these guys have taught me so much. When I send them an email, they get back to me, and I've learned a lot. So I'm very grateful to have them as resources. And within our California Community Colleges Online Education Initiative, as Lene mentioned in her 10-10-10 presentation yesterday, we have an OEI course design rubric. And so we're going to be focusing on what the rubric says is good accessibility. And so this, again, is open. Here's a bit.ly to go to the rubric. We're just going to be focusing on Section D. So as an instructional design contractor with OEI and At One, I've been able to work with many faculty throughout the state and help them get to where they need to be to pass their course through our online course exchange. So they need to meet specific criteria, which would be heading styles, lists, links, tables, color contrast, color and meaning, and images. And we're going to learn how to do each and every one of those today within Canvas, and it'll be very quick, I promise. And so the first one is content pages with our heading styles. So you'll notice that the table with our online course design guide has 3 columns. It has incomplete, aligned, and not applicable. So as the course reviewers go through our courses, or as we self-audit our courses that we have designed, because faculty within our state design their own courses, or as an instructional designer at your own institution, if you are the curriculum developer making all of it happen, this can be a guide that you can follow as you audit your own course content or content that you receive from publishers or other third parties, or maybe you found something amazing within the Canvas Commons, but you don't know if it's accessible. So you can go through the checklist and just make sure that you're not missing a beat. So the content pages that we're looking at with heading styles, we want to make sure that they consistently use headers with heading 2, 3, and so on. So here is a quick screencast. These are all less than a minute, and these will be available. I will provide them within the Canvas community, and we can also continue that discussion within the community. So I'm going to go ahead and play it for you.
As you go through your course, let's take a look at text styles. Edit. So I've done some example text for the purpose of this video. Let's pretend that we are a screen reader, and we want to hop from section to section within the course. It is important to use headers so that they don't have to read everything that's on your page over and over again. Think of these as bookmarks. So when we look at our heading 2, we'll be able to select it, find the drop-down where it says paragraph, and select header 2. Now we'll select heading 3, find the drop down and select header 3. We will highlight heading 4, select the drop down to find header 4. Say we want to change up the style a little bit in terms of how we can see it visually. You can still change the font size. So if I select the text, I can still go over here and make it as small or large as I would like. And you can do these for all of the headers below. Please make sure that when you use headers that you go in order, not skipping a level. So our content page will always be a header 1 for the title, and then make sure that you go from a header 2 to a 3 to a 4. Thank you so much, and let's make it a great course.
Okay, so that is the longest screencast, I promise you. And you can tell I just made that today. I'm wearing that. So I almost forgot headers. So thanks for letting me update the PowerPoint. All right, so now we have our next D2 when we go through our checklist is lists. So when I go through faculty's course, and even some of my old stuff, you know, I'm known to just do dashes because I think they're pretty, but we want to make sure that we use the bullets and the numbers within Canvas. So I'm going to show you quickly how to do that, and here we go. Oops. I went out of order. Okay, here we go. It's right here.
As you go through your course, you might notice that you created lists. Make sure that you use the Rich Text Media Editor to create those lists. This is essential for screen readers to know they are about to list off some essential items. Here, I'm going to select my list, select either the bulleted list or the numbered list. This is step-by-step directions, so I'm going to select a numbered list. I'm going to remove my dashes, and voila, it's done.
Okay, so now I'm going to back up, sorry. So now we have links. So when we have links within our course, I mean, up until I received the opportunity to be a part of this project, I was known to say, click here, and you're not supposed to do that because not everyone can actually click. They're going to be using their keyboards, or they're going to be telling their computer to select things. So I like to use select, and so I still have to proof my videos that I make and make sure that I'm not saying click here. And I probably have said it since I've learned it. So it's just a continual battle that I'm trying to fix myself. So you might notice it within your courses or within other people's courses that you're adopting. So links need to be descriptive, so avoid redundancy. Links need to have they need to have context. So what are they about to click on? And we're not going to have the screen reader read a really long URL, which you're about to see.
As you go through your course, look for links that you may have shared with your students. Let's provide context to these links. Edit. Within the Rich Text Media Editor, highlight the link. On a Mac, Command K. On a PC, Control K will bring up this pop-up. Let's edit the text to display to add context. Target, new window, OK. Save.
So you may have noticed I did a shortcut. So it was Command K on your Mac or Control K on your PC. Otherwise, if you just use the link that's within the Rich Text Media Editor, you're not going to be able to do that target of a new window. So I like that option. Otherwise, you have to go into the HTML editor, do some code, and do target and blank, underscore blank, or I don't even remember because I've just been doing this all the time. So it's a great resource, and I've noticed you can use it in a lot of other websites, not just Canvas. And so I really like that tip. So now we have tables. So tables, many of us have used tables for layout because it's pretty, it's nice, but when you go and look on your tablet or your other mobile device, your phone, you'll notice that if you're using them to display pictures in a pretty arrangement, it's not going to look pretty. So we want to make sure that when we're using tables that we are using it for data and putting the headers in there. I'll teach you how to do that. And then when you get into layout, that just gets a little fuzzy. So I'll leave that to the accessibility super duper experts such as Chris. So here we go. And this is super simple. You don't need to know how to code. No TH in your code. Oops.
As you go through your course, you might notice tables. Let's make sure that each of your tables are properly formatted. Let's give this column context and highlight the top row, table, row properties, row type, header. OK. Save.
So that was something super simple, and Lene, who's in this audience, actually taught me how to do that, so thank you. And now we have color contrast. So Canvas has built-in features that we can turn off and on ourselves, and we can teach our students how to do that. But we need to make sure that if we are putting images within our own Canvas course, it's the wave tools and all the accessibility checkers might not be able to read if you actually have the correct contrast. So let's go ahead and see how we can turn that on and off for our own personal profile settings.
Canvas has truly thought of it all. If you have a student that needs high contrast, you can tell them to go to their personal settings. They can get there by going to Account, Settings. Once in their settings, they'll go down to Feature Options. High Contrast UI is an option that can be toggled on and off. Once they've toggled it on, it will automatically select high contrast for everything that's within the course. Keep in mind, if you've uploaded images, those images cannot convert to high contrast. This just involves any colors that you have used with the Rich Text Media Editor and HTML. Enjoy.
All right, so I don't actually have a video for color and meaning. We just need to make sure that we have visual elements, the color and the bolding, all the caps, they're not used for the sole purpose to convey importance or meaning, because our screen readers aren't going to be able to translate that. If they have purpose and meaning, make sure that that's a header, and draw attention to that so that we can skip and review that again. So if it needs to be like, hey, if you're going to bold it, maybe consider, should this be a header? If you're really trying to target your students to pay attention to something like due dates or late policy, you'll want to, instead of making it super pink and bold and big, we want to make sure that we use the proper formatting so that it's accessible to everybody, so that it stands out for everyone. And images. So we want to make sure that we have our alt text going. So I'm going to show you how to do that.
As you go through your course, you might have images. Let's make sure that we have alt tags on all these images to provide context to our screen readers. Edit. Select the image. Embed image icon. Under Attributes, Alt Text, let's provide some context for this photo. We can move this box around so we can be reminded of what we're actually looking at. After we've written it out, update and save. When we use the Wave tool, we'll quickly be able to preview our alt text. So if you're auditing your whole course, you can use the Wave tool for each page instead of having to click Edit.
So this is what I do if I'm reviewing a course. I just use the Wave tool instead of, because sometimes I don't have editing privileges. So if I want to make sure that the instructor has used, the proper accessibility formatting, I can just look really quickly to see if they've used headers and if they've described their images and they've actually conveyed what the meaning is. And if it's just decorative, it would be hopefully not in the course or double quotes, but Canvas does that automatically if you erase it. So now we have those of you that upload media within your course using the Rich Text Media Editor tool. This is not instructions if you're using outside media and embedding it from YouTube and Vimeo. If you need resources on that, contact me. I have videos already made for this. But since this presentation is within Canvas only, I recorded something within Canvas, and I'll show you how I'm going to add captions to it. And ARC, if you guys caught the keynote, one of the keynotes, I love that their provider that they have chosen has the auto captioning that's over 90% accurate. So, I would love to get my hands on that.
As you go through your Canvas course, you might notice that you have included videos. And so, particularly speaking about the videos that you have uploaded directly into Canvas, or those that you have recorded directly into Canvas using their Rich Text Media Editor tool. And the way that you can add captions to it is by previewing the video. Energy, we would all select CC, select Upload Subtitles, and now Canvas provides us 3 steps to create a subtitle file for our video. Then we can upload it here. So if we already have an SRT file, we can upload it and skip to step 3. Once you've created your SRT file, you can select your language, select the file, and upload.
Okay. So I know we're just talking about Canvas and what we can do within Canvas, but many of you also have files that you may have uploaded or been given from your publishers if you have a cartridge. So I'm going to talk about that quickly in the next 2 slides under 2 minutes.
As you go through your course, Pay close attention and look out for any files that you may have uploaded and shared with your students. These files, if they were uploaded and they were not accessible, they still won't be accessible within your Canvas course. Here is a PDF that I uploaded to my course. When I checked it for accessibility within Adobe Acrobat, it was not 100% accessible. As you look through the information, you might ask yourself, could this information be best represented in a web page instead of within a PDF embedded within our page? Well, my answer for this one is yes. We can absolutely take the image and content and plop it into a Canvas page and make it look awesome. This way, both your visual and non-visual students will receive the content in the best way possible. It'll be clean, easy to navigate through, and access.
Okay, but if you wanted to fix those files, here's how to quickly check that.
Files within your course. Now, I'd love to see these files be converted to content pages, but if you don't have time, here's what you can do. If you've received files from your publisher, or if you have files that you've used for many years and you don't have time to convert them to content pages just yet, let's open them up within Word, PowerPoint, and Adobe Acrobat and check the accessibility and fix as much as possible. So here I have Word open. It's a blank document, but if you had your document open, you would go to the Review tab, and then you'd select Check Accessibility. The Accessibility Checker would provide you with information on what needs to be updated in order to be accessible. Awesome. Now, let's look at our PowerPoint. Now, if we go to the Review tab, also, we'll be able to click on Check Accessibility. We have some errors. So here we can start to edit and make changes. It'll tell you why to fix it and the steps of how to fix it. So it's pretty awesome. And now let's take a look at Adobe Acrobat. Here's a PDF. We go to Tools, Accessibility, Full Check, Start Checking. Now we have items that we need to update. We can right-click on it, we can fix them, or we can have it explain why it needs fixing so that we know how to fix it. Great. So now you know how to update those files and then re-upload them into your Canvas course if they're already in there. Great job. Enjoy.
So I want to leave you with two of my favorite accessible design quotes. Leona Watson says, "What a difference we could make if we design, excuse my language, like we give a damn." I love that. I've heard code like you give a damn, program like you give a damn, but let's design like we give a damn and remember why. And the I even practiced this. Maharashtra at Dyslexia Association says, "If I can't learn the way you teach, will you teach me the way I can learn?" And when I was going through this, I was like, I think I may have been dyslexic as a child. And I always struggled. I didn't like reading. So, online education really helped me get over that. So if I can't learn the way you teach, will you teach me the way I can learn? I just need to always remember that. So let's continue the conversation. Let's keep the momentum going. We have our hashtags for the conference and then accessibility. You can tweet me at NerdTera if you want to connect with me. If you want any of these resources, I need to caption them. And then the conference will also be uploading this and captioning the whole presentation if you wanted to review it if you just loved it so much, or these will be available as mini videos as well once I caption them, and I'll put them on my website. Also, for those of you that were in here, my superpower, which hopefully I accomplished a little bit of, was to provide you some fizzy powder, fizzy sticks. And if you want to try it, it will make you super happy and give you energy and a bump before we party tonight. I'm so excited that this is done. I had so much anxiety, and thank you. Thank you very much. I have more up here as well, and cards, so fizz sticks, cards, and I have a promise to you all. If you go to my website and get a pack of fizz sticks, I will audit your course for accessibility or whatever you need. I'll give you some time with me, so yeah. Thank you.